Hello, I'm Allie Scarlett. I hope you're doing as tremendously as possible. I am wondering if too many LGB people are narcissists. Because it's like, before my gender realization, which is female, so I'm a transgender woman, which happened on October 11th, 2022. I went to queer things. I was supportive, you know. Like, I thought I was an ally, meaning I'm not an ally because I am queer, but I didn't know I was yet. So, so I was there, but then in the Bay Area, I experienced mistreatment. You know, that's a queer friendly place. And then I go to a women's sports bar, so like a lesbian and bisexual bar in Minneapolis, and probably three discrimination and probably probably two hate incidents, including being exited. So I wonder if there were less LGBT people who were self-centered, if they would then, like, it's not like they hate transgender, TGI, transgender, gender diverse, and intersex folks, I hope. Probably not, they just are so self-centered. It's what I've come down to, because although, I mean, there was some stuff Saturday night that was bad. Like, a lesbian or bisexual woman not yielding to me, failure to yield, as the Minnesota police officer I met with said, last one from the George Floyd department, by the way, but, so, that's really bad. being exited is really bad. So, but I'm gonna think that it's not that, and it's not hate so as much as they're just self-centered, and they can't think beyond themselves. They can't look out for TGI rights because they're so self-centered about themselves. And there is still the DEI pullbacks, you know, so definitely by no means are LGBT people in the clear, you know, out of the woods. So, I mean, you know, we had to have a racial reckoning just 5 years ago, right? That was just for black civil rights. So, by no means are LGBT people out of the woods. But for them to not be there for TGI people is just insane. And let alone to be antagonistic. And so I go, how many of them are too self-centered? And then I think about my time in Los Angeles. One of the towns there is West Hollywood. And it's basically, it's a LGBT town, pretty much. Like, if you were to call like a town in Utah an LDS town, even though there's non-LDS people there too, you would call like West Hollywood an LGBT town, even though there's non-LGBT people there too. So, and I just go, you know, do people like want to think of themselves as stars, and so they go live literally in Hollywood? You know, you know. I admit that I went to Los Angeles secondarily to work in film, but my first reason was, first and foremost, was to get gender affirming care. I was also in trauma because of things that happened in the state where I grew up, at the most personal level. I did get a couple of gigs, and I got my book in 13 or 14 stores down there. I did 3 book signings. So, but I don't want to get into that. Some people in West Hollywood, they may have had some career success too in entertainment, or, you know, content creation or books or whatever. But the thing is like, so you can disregard that if you want. But the thing is like, I don't know, just to like, you've got to have a big ego just to like to live, unless you're working full time in the industry, or at minimum part-time, at minimum, like 20 hours a week, at least 15 hours a week. That's just such an ego to be like, oh, I want to live in West Hollywood so that I can say that I'm in Hollywood. Like, with that, yes, there's the literal neighborhood of Hollywood, there's the literal town of West Hollywood, but so yeah, you're technically in Hollywood, but that's like the entertainment industry. So I wouldn't just live in a place with Hollywood in the name so that I could say I'm in Hollywood. But it seems clear that that's what some LGBT people do. And so, in that case, those folks need to get over themselves. And, I wouldn't expect people with that sort of ego to, they should, but if I'm looking at it realistically, psychiatrically, if a psychiatrist were to tell me about their condition, I go, how can I don't want to say this because they should, but how do they, people can change, but hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry if I failed to communicate that. Thanks for watching. It means a lot.